everyone. And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back once again to Wizard World Virtual Experiences as the crowd emojis wildly. Let me see those emojis out there. You can also applaud from the comfort and safety of your home. My name is Mike G, one of your regular moderators and Director of Programming here at Wizard World Virtual Experiences. We are so excited to bring you our now infamous, I say that we've done a few in the last few weeks. We do these live panels each and every week for free with the cast of some of your favorite TV shows, films, movies, anime, all kinds of fun stuff. We recently had a majority of the cast of the classics from Doctor Who. We had Colin Baker, Daphne Ashbrook, Katie Manning, Paul McGann, Sylvester McCoy, Terry Malloy, Sophie Aldred, all joined us this past Sunday for a Doctor Who panel. It was amazing. If you haven't seen the full thing, definitely go back and check it out. It's at our Wizard World video page on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. But we are bringing it back again for some of our favorite clips. We got a bunch of people, fun people watching. Let us know where you're watching from. I see some French in the chat, so we know people are watching from France. Nadia Collin is here. Codename Lucas is watching on Twitch. Shout out what country or state you're watching from in the chat. We are going to bring out some of our favorite geeks, or some of our favorite Doctor Who geeks. They're going to be here to rewatch some of our favorite moments from the Doctor Who panel this last weekend and comment on it. So we're going to bring them out in just a sec. A couple of quick housekeeping things. The panels, including the celeb panels and these rewatch fan panels, are completely free, streaming to you live. But whether you're watching this live or a little bit later in the week, just know there are some paid virtual experiences going on as well. With any of these actors, you can get one-on-one live video chats, autographs, video recorded messages. Those are on sale throughout Saturday evening. Saturday, Halloween, it's easy to remember. Those will be on sale. And then those one-on-one video chats with your favorite doctor, your favorite captain, companion, your favorite bad guys from the Doctor Who series will be happening on Sunday, November 1st. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. We also record them as well if you're interested in adding that on. So take advantage of that. Those are all available at wizardworldvault.com. We have folks watching right now from Oregon, from Virginia, Florida, France, New Jersey, British Columbia, Canada, Belgium in the house. We're so excited. Wisconsin. Yet it is, says, dear fellow Whovians from Wisconsin, I saw Doctor Who rewatch on the notification. I had to pop in. Welcome, yet it is. We've got some amazing geeks hanging out with me in this Zoom chat right now. They run the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. You can find out more about that on Facebook or their website, legendoftravelingtardis.com. Please welcome to the Wizard World virtual stage, Melanie, Mackenzie, and Christian.
What do you mean this is free? Why is it free? I do not understand free. I was given a check for $5.
Exterminate that character. Exterminate that character.
I'm so happy to be at a con because this is the closest thing as we have to cons anymore.
I mean, this kind of counts. This kind of counts. We've brought you all who run an amazing podcast and are regular con goers to this virtual arena. There we go, Mackenzie. Nice. You're instantly in cosplay. Well done. And we're here all to nerd out together about Doctor Who. You are all the true nerds, though, and so I'm going to defer to you for most of this panel. I'm a huge fan, like I was saying to you before we began, primarily, though, from Ninth Doctor on, in the new series, but because of my love for the new series and all things, 9 through 13, I've gone back and watched some of the classics, and we had some of the classics this last weekend on Sunday, 6, 7, 8, plus their companions. We're so excited to watch some of the clips of them in just a bit, but I'd love just to for all you to introduce yourself one at a time, because this is a fan panel as much as it is a Doctor Who rewatch panel. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came to be a Doctor Who fan, how you came to be on part of this podcast, and just going in the order of my screen, which is what everybody's saying. Let's start up top to my right. Melanie, tell us a little bit about yourself and your Doctor Who nerddom.
So my name is Melanie Dean. I am a portrait artist. I do a lot of fan things. Some of the work behind me might be a quick little plug of what I do. Not the cat. She just right now is just staring longingly at John Barrowman, which, hey, we can't hate on that.
Can't fault her.
I'm usually a fixture in the Southeast doing cons. I'm in the artist alley, and I just love Doctor Who. It's like one of my first like real fandoms that I really got into the show, and it got me into, married into painting. So I mean, I was painting, and then kind of started doing fan stuff, and was like, oh, this is so much fun. But I love conventions. I love talking to other Whovians, and that kind of dovetailed into talking to one of whichever way he is, Christian Basil, who is also somebody that I would see in the Southeast. And we found out we were both crazy huge Whovians. And at one day he kind of said, hey, would you want to get on a podcast and kind of talk about how much we love Doctor Who? And I went, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I think we're kind of entertaining, maybe. I don't know. And here we are, 100 episodes in. We've interviewed some of the people that we're going to rewatch now, and just love it's not work. It's not work when it's this much fun. There's no way.
No, totally. People ask me that a lot as a moderator on these. I'm like, I mean, you do research, right? But your research is you being a fan. So it's
research?
Yeah, exactly. It's just
you learn how to get professional with it though, so that like when Paul says something in the back, you gotta go, oh, that's absolutely interesting. Oh, that's great. And then in your head, it's that meme of Kermit going, ah!
Christian,
what's really happening internally, but keep it close to the vest.
Christian, I call it research so I can invoice for it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, people ask me, it's like, do you take any notes? And I said, yeah, I got tons of notes.
A lot of people talking about sonic screwdrivers in the comments. Terry Hobson, my boyfriend, collects sonic screwdrivers. Colin Caviar says, I have the 10th Doctor's screwdrivers. Bring out your screwdrivers, everybody.
Oh,
Whovians know it.
It is a
All right.
tradition.
Well, Christian,
you welcome the doctor by your sonic.
yeah, exactly. All right. Well, Christian finds their
I can see my T-shirt now.
screwdriver. Mackenzie, introduce yourself and let us know about your. There we go. Nice. Mackenzie, introduce yourself. Let us know about your becoming a Whovian and then your part in the podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mackenzie Floor. I am the author of The Right of Wands. Most of you would probably know me by, not by me, but by this cover. That's what everybody tells me anyway, at least at Wizard World. I actually wrote the main character for Matt Smith, which is kind of how I got into the whole Whovian thing, though. To be honest, my first Doctor was the 5th Doctor. So he's the one of the classics that's missing from this panel, but I'm sure down the line we'll get to see him. Yeah. I actually have gone to Wizard World Chicago. That is ironically where kind of everything circled around for me. I found my publisher there. I found my agent there. I found a Chris and Heather, who actually got me connected with Melanie and Christian from the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, and they wanted to see if I'd be a good fit. So that's how I got on here and been plugging it in. Since then, I have become the assistant.
Not true, Mike. She just won't leave. She just won't leave.
Those are
with a bad penny.
Christian, those are the best panelists because you don't have to. They just will always show up. Exactly. They'll always be there. You can always count on them.
Here's Mackenzie.
You can always count on them.
Just like, you want me to talk? Just here's my cell phone. You need me on? Just give me a buzz. I'll be there.
Awesome. That's
basically
so awesome.
We need somebody for Saturday, and Mackenzie's still on. Oh, so that's weird.
Well, and shout out to you all because I did a very similar thing to them. We just started doing these rewatch parties, and they're very like, in the middle of the week when some people can't see it on the weekends. And so I appreciate all three of you for just being totally gung ho and like whatever you need, Mike, we'll be there and we'll talk about Who because we love it. I appreciate all three of you being here. And Christian,
I just made that up just to be nice.
that was.
Like, wow,
we know about Zoom. I can remove you all from the meeting like that.
Hey.
Yeah. Christian, introduce yourself. Tell us about your Whovian fandom and how you started the podcast.
I don't even remember we've done so many conventions over time. I've been told the story. I'm just like, nobody knows about this now. So basically in a nutshell, 8 years ago, I just had this little idea of getting myself a TARDIS from Amazon. This was $75 plus shipping, and take it to places that the way that I coined it is take it to places where the Doctor's never been before. So I took in some bizarre places. If you look at the pictures 8 years ago, it's at Home Depot, it's at Lowe's, it's at Publix. There's a lot of stories about this. It's just some bizarre things. But I started talking when I started going to conventions, and then I started taking pictures of people and cosplayers with it. And I started talking about Doctor Who, and then people started listening, which was the crazy part of the whole thing. And it's like, well, you're going to listen to me. So God rest his soul, a good friend of ours named Ken Spivey, he started something way back when in Orlando when it first arrived, Time Lord Fest, if anybody remembers that.
Time Lord Fest.
I was on one of his first panels, and he came up with this idea. Ironically, here's Halloween. He came up with the first panel that I've ever been on, Doctor Who and Vampires. And I'm like, well, there's only one episode with vampires, so we could just run the episode, and there's your vampire thing. I'm like, so I'm supposed to make an hour-long panel about something about one episode long, and that doesn't include the Matt Smith one, Vampires of Venice, which were vampire. I digress. But it was fun, and I got to know people. And next thing you know, we're going to different conventions. Would it be bad form to mention other?
No, totally. It's a fan panel. Yeah, we support
Yeah.
all geeks out there and nerds. Yeah.
So we ended up going to Space Coast Comic Con, Fan Expo, MegaCon. We went to Fan Expo Dallas. I just started going all over the place, and they started paneling us up, and we were the Doctor Who aficionados, at least in Florida, Florida SuperCon, and I've just been doing it for now 8 years, and just 2 years ago. I had been on other. What's that, Melanie? Go for it.
Oh no, just trying to wrap it back to it just started with him taking photos of the TARDIS.
There you
so
go.
What you see next to the candles is him taking photos of the object everywhere, and then little by little that kind of got traction of where the TARDIS was going to be. Hence the legend of the traveling.
It's the title.
Then he wanted to know more about the people behind the traveling TARDIS, meaning Christian, and then Christian brought on us friends and. Now we have a podcast.
Very cool. Very cool.
And I've been off of podcasts. The most recent was a friend of mine did a podcast called Gallifrey Stands. His name is Ian Shaw, and he's done now. He does the Squeeze Show, and we were I've been on all of these other podcasts, but this was the most recent one, and we were the UK-US brothers. So we gave two different perspectives. The problem is it's a 5-hour difference, and scheduling is a living nightmare. And then I just departed. And a friend of mine named Garrett Palmacher, who runs the Hanging with the Web show, which is now a conglomerate of podcasts. We were one of the first ones. He goes, I think it's time for you to have your own podcast. And I was like, I was really against it. But as Melanie said, 2 years ago, we actually premiered the day before Jodie Whittaker became the Doctor. And that was the first episode talking about Jodie Whittaker. 100 episodes later.
That's so cool.
Plethora of guests. Yeah, Paul is actually number 100. In fact, the stars that you've got in the little screen over there, I think only but 2 we've interviewed.
I recognize that.
Awesome. Yeah.
And
I know even the fans right now in the comments are like, we see the doctors in the upper corner there. Like, who are they? So we're gonna get to them in a sec. I promise.
No,
but
yeah.
And
our Facebook page is now moving up to 40,000 Facebook.
Yeah. Awesome. Congrats. That's so cool. And that Facebook page, facebook.com/The Traveling TARDIS, or the website, thelegendofthetravelingtardis.com. Go check out all 100 episodes. Congratulations, y'all. That's so cool. And that's so awesome. Talking about all things Who. Well, speaking of Who, let's get to some of these clips from the panel, because that's what tonight's all about, is rewatching some of our favorite moments from the past weekend, and then just being just nerdy about it. The panel started off, Christian even joked, with some just sort of general confusion over the first question. One of the first questions early on from a fan was, what were some funny moments? And, these panels are funny. I'm sure they've gotten questions about what's your favorite episode? What's a prank on set? Over and over again. But Colin and Sylvester did not disappoint with their just witty banter back and forth.
I would think if you asked them what their funny moment was, that whole panel, that question, that whole time was the
funniest moment. Yeah, exactly.
Trying to figure out what the funniest moment was.
Also, shout out to you guys. Were talking about some of your collections. We played a clip that you all didn't see, Legend of Traveling TARDIS, right beforehand, but the fans were talking about of Lily Connors. She's been a huge supporter of Wizard World and the Doctor Who stuff. She holds the world record for the largest Doctor Who collection. She is she is a teenager. She started when she was a child. She's a huge fan. When she got the world record, it was like over 6,000 items. Now she has over 11,000 individual items. And so just for you all's context, and then the fans watching, that's who that was. It's crazy. It's super awesome. So
she's got 10 of these at home.
Yeah, I mean, probably more. All right, let's take a look at this first clip of the question being, what is some of your favorite, funniest moments of being on set with Doctor Who?
Well, I have to say that Colin Baker, unbeknownst to most people, is an incredibly serious actor on set. And when we did Revelation of the Daleks, there was a moment where my hand was blown off and all these polystyrene fingers disappeared all over the place. And when they did the reverse shot on Colin, he had one of my fingers up his nose. Which JNT sort of said, yeah, let's do that again, shall we, Colin, without the finger? Quite a few moments like that. Yeah.
Some things you cannot resist.
No, I know. Yeah.
Thank God it
And
was
you've
your
still
finger.
got my finger. You've still got my finger, haven't you?
I still have your finger, yes.
Where is
Make
it
me an
now?
offer. Make me an offer, Terry.
Oh, the world and more.
Anyone else?
My favourite funny moment is called Sylvester McCoy.
Yay.
Very long moment.
I thought I was a very serious doctor.
Actually, you were. It's funny because I think people thought of you as this comedy actor, and it was like written not for you originally, was it? And then
It was written for Colin,
Right.
not comedy actor.
and then
Not
if you look now,
I lie.
I recently did a tweet along of Survival, which was our last transmitted story. And I mean, your doctor is really kind of mysterious and dark and funny as well. But, it's a fantastically deep performance, may I say.
Thank you very much. I'll send you that money now. When we were doing Survival, we were running around in a sand pit, and it was like a big desert, and it was over 100 degrees. It was like we were making a spaghetti western, and I had to do this thing where I had to indicate to people, run that way, run this way, run that way, run this way, and they kept saying again. So I kept doing it and doing it and doing it, and then I kept doing it, and then it said cut, but I carried on doing it, and I took my hat off and I threw it on the floor. I took my jacket off and threw it on the floor, and then I dived into the sand. Only the sand was like concrete, so I nearly knocked myself.
Oh,
Remember that, Sophie?
Funny though.
It was funny. Yeah, I got a laugh.
Oh,
And
wow.
Ken Campbell, who was one of my guides to comedy, he always said to me, McCoy, it won't hurt if you get a laugh. So I got a laugh. They took me to hospital afterwards.
lies they tell us.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we had an enforced period of laughter, didn't we, Colin? When we flew to Seville to film The Two Doctors, and they lost the wigs, the false eyebrows, the various parts. So we were forced, it was horrible. We were forced into the swimming pool and the bar and to eat all the Spanish food.
2 days in Seville.
Until
We weren't allowed to work.
yeah, it was.
You poor things.
Honestly, we struggled, haven't we?
Yeah. Nothing natural.
Violin, yeah.
My favourite bit was you know that game you play in a swimming pool where someone sits on the other person's shoulders? We played Doctors and Companions. So poor old Pat Troughton had Fraser on his shoulders. And I had Nicola sitting with her legs wrapped around my neck. I'll leave that for you all to think about.
Oh my gosh. Just fun to hear like the joy in their voices, you know what I mean? And just like the time that they had on set. I don't know, immediate reactions just to some of those folks chatting about the stories.
I wish we interviewed Terry after this, because now I can ask him how he gave the doctor the finger. After us giving him the finger over there. Oh wow, I could just imagine.
I wish that they left that part with him, this finger in the nose, because honestly, when it comes to Colin's Sixth Doctor, when you have that coat and all of that, you know, they made him so dark and everything, but they made the thing comical. I really wish that they let him be a little bit more comical, and that would have been hilarious, because no one would have seen that coming.
Absolutely. And them describing like having to eat and having the wrapped around each other. I'm just like, I can totally see that as they're describing it. Especially with Hart talking about the second Doctor. I'm like, geez, that had been just odd.
And Sophie, if you didn't notice, was playing the violin when they said, yeah, things were lost, so we were stuck at the hotel pool, and she's just the sob story music going.
Is anybody not going to mention the elephant in the room that Fraser Hines was once on top of Patrick Troughton in a swimming pool somewhere, and I can't get that image out of my mind right now. is nobody going to address this? I was like,
Well,
it's giving me...
Someone needs to fan art that right now. Come on.
No, that's DeviantArt.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's true.
the part that Sylvester was talking about, if anybody goes onto YouTube and just looks for Seventh Doctor clips, I know exactly what clip there he's talking about, because they've shown that as in different compilations of the Seventh Doctor, where he does do that dive. So after this, y'all gotta get on YouTube and go find that. That is absolutely hilarious, now knowing the backstory behind it.
Going based on the same story of Survival, I just remember, I don't know why, of all the things in Survival, one of the things, not only the ending speech that he gives, that beautiful ending speech is Survival, but I remember the Master's walking around in the field and he's looking, I think he's just trying to get away. And there you see with Sylvester McCoy with butt in the air inside this garbage pit. I was just like, and the Master's laughing at him. I'm just like, well, I'm laughing at him too. This is Sylvester with his butt out in a garbage. I'm just like, oh God, who came up with this idea? Fine, moving on.
Demuse Mark, who's watching, says, I definitely have to rewatch those episodes with Sylvester. I mean, Sylvester was so amazing, so amazing. And then Cleothea says, I love how much they still enjoy talking about Doctor Who. And that's what you really get from them. It's like they're not over it, they're not tired of it. It's still an honor to be a part of it. And just the joy they have of kind of going back and recollecting is the best. Can you pick 6, 7, or 8 we have on this panel right now? Do you have a favorite of the 3? I hate to do it. They're not in the room, so.
4.
Yeah. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Tom
For
Baker.
visually, I'm split between 7 and 6 because we have so much content from them. And go back and watch, even though during their time, a lot of people gave them crap, but you can really see what they were doing with Sylvester. He was just sly as a fox.
Yep.
And same thing with Sixth Doctor. He was just, he was as close to like little Time Lord Victorious as you wanted to be, kind of evil and dark and just did not care. He was no nonsense. When I would always want to go with 8, but 8 lives in Big Finish.
I know.
Go to Big Finish.
Yeah, you got it.
That's the thing. First time around with Colin Baker, I absolutely did not like his Doctor at all. And I didn't really understand what it was. Same with Sylvester McCoy. I really didn't like his Doctor. And I realized, oh, sorry, Mel's. That was the issue. But when you go into Big Finish, those two, they just shine, especially Colin Baker. So for me, Colin Baker is my Doctor in Big Finish, just downright. He's wonderful.
It's really hard because the TV series, I mean, if we're going based on the TV series, then I have to give it to, believe it or not, Paul McGann, because a lot of, even though the story was just kind of weird, his interpretation of the Doctor, some of the stuff that he did, and I think because we were starting to move into the tech now that was not wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey sets, we were now moving into good stuff technology. But yeah, everybody is redeemed. Sylvester, Colin, Paul, they're all redeemed in Big Finish. And they all each have a great story. I have great stories of them. Sylvester, the All-Consuming Fire, where he's actually up with Nick Briggs playing Sherlock Holmes. Could you imagine that pairing right there? Colin Baker, one of my favorite stories of all time, which was my gateway drug into Big Finish, the Holy Terror.
Yes.
Which is also a Frobisher episode, which is the shape-shifting penguin. And it starts off, and it has a brilliantly written by Rob Sherman, who also wrote Dalek for the Christopher Eccleston series. But it starts off Monty Python-ish and hold tight, because somewhere in the middle it starts to transition, and you're just like, at the end of the story, you're just like, it flips so bad, it's flipped so badly, but it grabs onto you, and you just don't even know where you're going at that moment. And it has a great theme. Paul McGann, one of my stories is Scherzo, also a Rob Sherman story, and Prisoner of the Sun. I mean, if given the time that they should have had with their doctors, I think Big Finish finally gave them the time. I mean, for crying out loud, Melanie Bush, who was considered, one of the most questionable companions that they had out there. She was a computer genius before she became an aerobic instructor during the mid-series. And in Big Finish, she actually uses her computer skills in one of the episodes. I can't remember, but it was I think it took place in the 80s, and it was a Sylvester McCoy story. It was like, finally,
she gets to use her brain.
She used what they were giving her, as opposed to, okay, here's some carrot juice, Doctor.
Yes.
It's crazy how many Whovians don't not that they don't know about Big Finish, but they don't go as far as that. You know what I mean? They'll claim they're TV series fans. You know what I mean? Or especially the new generation. But there's so much good story and content in the Big Finish and all those things. Demuse Mark says they love Paul McGann's comeback as the good Time Lord, doing his utmost to save the woman who got caught up in the war between the Daleks and the Time Lords. Terry Hobson says my boyfriend is watching and Tom Baker is his favorite as he grew up in the 70s. Obviously, Tom Baker is a ton of people's favorites. I've always heard that it's like who you grew up with is like who your doctor
That's always
is.
fair.
Yeah. It's like anything. Well, we're talking about storylines and sort of not redemption, but comeback storylines for a lot of these doctors. And they did get asked the question towards the end of the panel what their favorite storylines were. It kind of took a little twist. You'll see as we watch this, but here are the actors talking about their favorite Whovian storylines.
I guess either one. Is there a
Tom
favorite?
Baker was asked many years ago to join Big Finish and he refused. But he said, though, I will join. Tom Baker.
Oh, Tom, I thought you said Colin.
You might have heard of him. It was before your time. Anyway, he decided. He said he would never join, and then he said, "Okay, I'll join if you do my story." And I rather like it. Really, it's the TARDIS. The message keeps coming through from Earth. Help! Help! Please help! And eventually, they're begging him to help, and it turns out it's not humans; it's whales. Not Welsh. No, it's oh boy, oh help! It's not boy,
Help! Bring back Lily. Where's Lily gone?
We're in lockdown. What are we going to do? No, it wasn't that. It was those kind of whales. I thought that's a lovely story. Him coming down to save the whales from humanity. That was a good.
I change. I mean. It's usually the one I've just listened to or watched or whatever, but I'm not going to plug anything here except,
oh, go on
down there and me.
Yeah, please do.
I've just done a Time War 4 thing and I've only just got hold of the copy and listened to it. I went, wow, that actually kind of works.
But you did it down below?
Yeah, well, Paul's down below me on the street. It's like,
I know.
He's down below me.
Not from where I'm sat.
Oh, right. Oh, from where you are. It's all.
Oh,
is that there?
So you're right at the bottom of mine.
But no, I've really thoroughly enjoyed listening to the Palindrome and well, that whole box set which has just come out from Big Finish, because it shows a new side of Davros that people haven't seen before.
On the backside.
His sensitive side.
Absolutely, yeah. The fact that he wears a kilt, yeah.
I love the stories that spin our previous conceptions on 180 degrees, like when you and I changed parts. That story we did when Davros became the Doctor and vice versa.
Yeah.
And having to act each other, dealing with that.
Yeah. And not give the game away as well. Yeah.
Yes, that was exciting. Oh, there's my phone.
Yes, I've just had mine, which yeah. No, I mean it's when you kind of push the envelope on the relationships with the various characters between the Doctor,
Excuse me, I'll just
and the
unplug
other people, and
your agent realised you're still alive.
Oh no, it's gone. It's
went through the wall.
Yeah, it went through the wall.
Your head disappeared on us
That's a
for a
good
little bit.
musical as well.
You've lost your head.
In our closing moments, anyone else have a favorite story that they want to celebrate?
Oh, I've got to do a plug. Sorry, this is an unashamed plug.
Go for it.
It's the book what I wrote, the novel What Happened to Ace and the Seventh Doctor at Childhood's End, and it's the Doctor, new Doctor meeting Ace and Sylvester Doctor, Seventh Doctor as well. It's great fun to do.
Where can we
buy it? Have you done the audio of it? Sorry.
Oh, you can. Yes, and I did the audio as well. All good bookshops, and that is where we buy stuff from, and we're very guilty and we feel bad about doing so. But but we do it.
So was the new Doctor Paul?
No, the new Doctor was Jodie Whittaker.
Also, did you in the read through? Did you do me and then Jodie Whittaker?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fun.
What do I sound like?
Oh God, no, don't. I'm so glad you.
So you can only do Scottish, you see.
No, it's terrible. You don't want to know.
No. It's awful. Sounds like you got a load of ferrets down your
Yeah, you
throat
see.
or something,
Yeah.
I have.
Looks as if you're in a dentist chair, Sylvester. Are you in a dentist chair? Or an execution?
No, it's
something?
no.
So just a review there. Not only did they make fun of Wales, but also Scotland. Both Wales and Scotland got hit. Oh my gosh, a lot to unpack there. No, exactly. Yeah. A lot to unpack there. So many great moments and so many great, just Whovian memories, but then also upcoming things from Sophie. My gosh, I don't know. Anything stick out to you as like one of your favorite things that they mentioned? Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Do you want to say it, Melanie, or do you want me to say it? First of all, I guess we're going to extend the plug for Sophie Aldred.
Yeah.
If you get the audio,
Christian.
of At Childhood's End.
Yes, he did it.
Yeah, I couldn't say it. I felt so
she
bad.
was on.
She's been on twice, and I actually could not say it.
Yes.
That's so
I was like, but anyway, she does a spot on 13 that we had mentioned. I was like hinting to Nick Briggs. I sent him an email just like, if Jodie does not want to do Big Finish, you have a 13 in Sophie Aldred. It is almost spot on.
Yeah,
you could actually just shut your eyes, listen to it, and she could nail Jodie. Not only the voice, but the mannerisms. And to hear Ace and 13 duke it out verbally, because there is a scene where the two of them get together, and it's that what's the best way of saying it? Like X moment, the companion moment that left, and we didn't finish. It's like a boyfriend and a girlfriend being put in the car, exes of each other, and they have to take a long drive, and just having that moment together where they have to talk to each other possibly, and then just like letting it out.
Well, her and Yaz, she has Ace and Yaz kind of yelling at each other, and Yaz is kind of like, "What's your, having that kind of being defensive on 13? Like, I don't understand what your problem is." And Sophie's just kind of like, Ace is just kind of like, "Look, you're new here. Settle down." I mean, it's an amazing story, and
every character, she nails them all. I mean,
and
not vocally, but she nails the characteristics. Graham, Yaz, Ryan, all of them. She nails them down. But 13, she actually gets the voice, which is a nice little treat if you ever want to listen to it.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And she went into how she did Sylvester's, where here she kind of hinted, she's like, nope, not going to even attempt it. But when she was on our program, she explained a little bit more how difficult his voice is, because he was born in Ireland, if I remember correctly, moved to Scotland, but then moved was it Ireland, then moved to England? No, see, I can't even remember the way it was, but it's basically, you've got 3 different accents where different words he lilts differently. So yes, it's Scottish, but there's certain words that aren't there. So when she was trying to invoke the 7th Doctor, because the other thing is when you're doing that performance, she was like one of the first people who really kind of push that. When you're doing the performance of that character, you're not doing an impression. People could tell if you're doing an impression of Sylvester McCoy, if you're doing an impression of Colin Baker. What you're doing is you're trying to invoke as an actor the 7th Doctor. Yeah. And to get that accent right, it was mind-blowing. So when she just kind of went, "Oh no, I'm not talking about that," in my head, I'm like, "Oh yeah, girl, I do."
He has that thing where he rolls his R, and that's only a Sylvester McCoy trademark of it. Is he falling out of his seat?
He is. He moves around quite a bit.
Paul looks like he's crocheting something.
He does.
Yeah, and then
I just like that Davros gave the Doctor the finger. That's gonna be the running gag.
I love how Terry's sitting inside his soundproof where he records booth, but it looks like he's sitting inside of a Dalek.
Yep. Oh yeah.
How do you know he's not?
I know, right?
Inside of a Dalek.
He's Davros.
And then Daphne's just silk, lurking in the background there. So
And
funny.
the thing is, too, is, and I don't know if this was the case with Sophie. I have with the Binge Watcher Guide to Doctor Who for Jodie Whittaker. I've actually I had interviewed some of the writers for Doctor Who of the book series.
Cool.
And they had said that they had no idea, like any of the mannerisms, any of the words, none of that stuff was given to them ahead of time. I said, well, how did you nail these? Like Graham and Yaz, how did you get them? They're like, I don't know. We wrote them. I'm like, that's just, so that could be the same. I don't know if that's the same case with Sophie, if that happened with her, where she had no knowledge of how 13 was either. Because a lot of times these traditional books, they're published and written, or I should say they're written 2 to 3 years before they're actually published. So that easily could have been written before Jodie even was announced.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, At Childhood's End is an audiobook. So it's a novel, so you can have either read the novelization or you can listen to the audiobook of it. It's not the same thing as Big Finish if the audience is kind of getting just to know that there's a delineation. Big Finish is an audio drama. So you have multiple casts, you do have sound effects. It's like listening to the radio, or better yet, like if you listen to podcasts or if you listen to TV shows or whatever while you're working at, from home. It's kind of like thing where you're just, the visuals just stripped away, and you get to see those companion crossovers where if you're watching this and you're loving, how Sophie is talking to Colin but maybe never really worked with, you could find that in Big Finish.
Well, and Melanie, that's a great segue, because James Hireman, who's watching on Facebook, wants to know your opinion on what other good companion crossovers you'd like to see coming up. Yeah, anything that pops into your head about another good companion cross? I mean, this is one of them, obviously, that's been. But if you had the chance to write a companion crossover, anything that sticks out to you?
Oh gosh, and this is also for me. This has to go back to the Sophie's book, because there is a storyline that involves with Jack Harkness, his group, and again, what happened to them. So I would love to see them do that crossover there as well, because I think Ace would be perfect doing that. There even was a rumor going around for a long time that Yaz may eventually become part of that group too. So who knows? Maybe that would happen.
Mm-hmm. There is a lot of one of my favorite just kind of companion crossover-y ones. It's Katie Manning as Jo Grant. Now at the point she's now Jo Jones, and she has one for a Torchwood one with John Barrowman as Captain Jack Harkness, and that one is hilarious. And that's a pairing that you would never ever think that you would be like, oh, how do you wrap a story with these two? Do it, because it's green. Oh, is it Green Life? Green. Christian.
Green Life, because Green
Green
Death
Life.
was the actual first episode.
Yes.
This was the episode that took place after that. As much as I know the Whovians out there begrudge it, classic Whovians, especially me, Dimensions in Time, I think they had an idea and it just kind of went kerfuffle, and it was a storyline that was supposed it was to help charities and such. But if the mixed nuts, because 6 was actually with Ace. Mm-hmm. And they, the companions were all tossed around and nobody had the same companion with them. So what would happen if one companion ended up with another doctor? How would that happen? That was actually explored with Big Finish with India Fisher's character, Charlie Pollard, which she started off with 8 and then ended up back with 6. And the whole premise of her arc at that time, when she ends up with 6, she can't tell 6, I've just been with your 8th incarnation and you can't know what I'm doing here, but I'm here and you're my doctor now. And how they were getting along, and the doctor knowing that is like, I know there's more to you and I know you know something about me, but I got to figure it out. And I won't blow the storyline, but yeah, he eventually figures it out, but there's more to it there. But I would love to see where the companions actually flop around. I mean, what would Perry do with 7? What would 8 do with what would 8 do, and what would 8 do with Ace, because he's the doctor after, and but she hasn't seen him yet and all that stuff. But it would be nice. And like Melanie said, what about a spin-off where the companions get together? How would the aftermath of the companions being interacted with the doctor being together? How would Ace go with Sarah Jane Smith?
Well, good segue, Christian. Cleo just said would have loved to see Ace in the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Oh,
we're hitting, yeah.
She was supposed to be the next companion.
We saw Joe.
Yeah,
Joe was there.
Joe. Yeah, there was talks with Sophie Aldred to be the next companion to be in there in the Sarah Jane, and unfortunately Liz Sladen passed.
Yeah,
but I meant that would have given new life to the companions who came before, and just to see what they were doing. Somebody had mentioned, and I kind of joined in. I think it was a friend of mine, Patty, who we mentioned that what would happen if a companion like was Janet Fielding. I can't think of her companion's name. It's slipping my mind right now.
My classic brain just went.
Fifth Doctor, the Australian airliner. I can't even think of her companion's name.
The fans will help. The fans will help. Fans,
yes,
we need
fans.
Yeah,
if you can think about it.
Yeah.
But what would happen if the companion had an offspring that ended up traveling with the Doctor, and the way that she actually felt about the Doctor, and her child ending up now going with the Doctor in the same way that Amy Pond ended up going out with 11. The next generation of companions could be the descendants of the classic companions, and see where they would go with
Tegan. We're getting some Tegan.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
See, they always come through.
Yeah,
Or at least Google. Or at least Google did. Yeah.
And they're probably going like, "You're not Doctor Who expert. Why don't you know Tegan?" It's late, guys. I just got off work. Sorry.
No, she got strangled, but yeah.
Yeah. We're almost we're about out of time. This is crazy. We could do this for hours. This has been a lot of fun so far. Obviously, reminder to the fans that the full panel, and it includes like a good 10 to 15 minutes of each one of them talking about how they got their part, how they got into Who. So definitely go back and rewatch that. But some other fun moments coming up. I'm going to let you all vote The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We can watch the clip where they talk about their favorite Broadway musicals, or we can watch the part where they talk about what they're doing as hobbies during quarantine. Let's vote.
I'll go hobby.
Hobbies. Okay, good.
Hobbies
So
unanimous.
yeah, so the musicals is funny. There is a big Whovian fan, and I forget their handle, that apparently always asks this questions of the doctors and their companions at conventions nationwide. So go back, check that out. They all talk about their favorite musicals. But let's find out. I think the cool thing, we're all stuck in this same shared experience together, right? We're all in our own homes doing our own thing, and this is the closest we get to a convention these days. And so it's interesting to hear from our favorite actors, our favorite performers, that they're also having the same exact experience. So I think that's why this is a neat clip. So here are some of them talking about, again, some hobbies that they picked up during quarantine.
A new way to experience 2020 for you?
Yeah, I did some painting when I was in France. I got a friend, Ed, and he takes famous paintings, deconstructs them, and then we reconstruct them, and it's been quite fun, really. I've done Picasso, I've forged Van Gogh, forged Degas. I've got loads of forgeries now. I've become a forger,
Show us. I want to see them.
Yeah, we're
They're
going to
in
be able to see
France.
these.
They're in France, sadly. Otherwise, yeah.
Okay.
I've been doing that with banknotes. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, but the rubber ones, they keep bouncing.
That's the ones, yeah. Along with checks. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, this was my project at the beginning of lockdown, so that I could carry on working.
Right.
But I live in an area of England, Norfolk, which is it's a bit like lockdown every day of the week when there isn't a pandemic. So, plus ça change, c'est la même chose, the beach is close, the dogs go on the beach. Love it. Just get out and have a look at the sky. And it's been just nice to be at home and not chasing off in all directions.
Absolutely.
Obviously miss grandchildren and things like that from a distance, but the rest at the moment we're enjoying.
I've been losing weight.
All right.
I decided to do the opposite of everybody else, and I've lost 32 pounds.
Yeah.
Well done. Congratulations. You look really good on it, Colin. You look really
Thank
good.
You do.
More to come.
Yeah.
I thought
you wouldn't keep sending it to me though.
So I'll help. I'll help COVID stay away by not being a great fat lump.
Do you have you're quite a tall man. Do you have a fighting weight? Is there a weight that you're kind of aiming for?
Well, I won't tell you what I was when I started, but having lost 2 and a bit, I'm aiming for another 2.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
You'd be running upstairs.
Yeah.
Well, I'm moving faster already.
Good.
Amazing.
I just want you girls to know that.
No. You are such a tease, Mr. Big.
Who's speaking?
I've been running upstairs as well, but mostly because I'm now almost full-time nurse with my sweetheart as well, who's helping out a lot. To my mum, who's moved in with me. So that's been a big lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And I've lost 22 pounds. It might be that.
Wow, congratulations.
Wow.
You have to upstage me, don't you?
No, not as much as you. Not as much as you. See, always emulating you.
I thought I was doing so well, and you're doing it as well. And for you to lose that is half your weight.
I've lost half my body fat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like a protracted escape bid.
Oh, that's so funny.
I've gone down 2 clothes sizes, but then so is my mum from chemotherapy. So I've given her my wardrobe, and I'm without.
Uh-oh.
That's a good reason. That's a good reason to go shopping.
Yeah.
So, the best reason to go shopping. So.
I'm just waiting to see. I'm just like,
Nicola and,
you can only see this much. If I stood up, the skirt falls down.
Oh, stand up. Stand up.
Stand up at once.
Nicola and Colin, there a lot of the fans are chatting in and just sending their congratulations, and they're super inspired by you. So thank you for sharing that. So, with our,
So we got some. Oh, there we go. We got some reactions there about
The
things that
woman
are happening.
has no body fat. What the heck is she talking about?
That's crazy.
Nicola has no body fat whatsoever, and I think I gained all the weight that those two combined while I was on while I was in lockdown, so I'm not feeling it. I'm like, oh, congratulations, guys! Yeah,
So impressive. Well, hey, we're out of time, but thank you all so much for being here. The fans are loving this. Thanks everybody who's tuned in, watched, sent your little reactions in here. Demuse Mark said, well, I'm hooked. Where can we listen to the Traveling TARDIS podcast? Jazz, our amazing social media person, dropped your link right into the chat. So whether you're watching on Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube, it is the legend of thetravelingtardis.com or facebook.com/thetravelingtardis is where we can hear. Paul McGann, episode 100. I was going to ask you earlier, Sophie Aldred, was that a recent episode as well? Do you remember what number?
He's been on 2 episodes. I'm at.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Maybe in the 60s-ish. Yeah, she's been on twice.
And I missed both of them.
It's
working on the right Avenation, which was the 60s.
If anybody wants to check out at facebook.com/the traveling TARDIS, I'll put up a post to kind of like tell everybody like the highlights from this chat of ones that we've kind of referenced, or any of the things where for more information you can watch Sophie talk about a Childhood 10 on episode blah 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 blah. So I could put it there.
Beautiful. That's so cool.
You could just go facebook.com, the traveling TARDIS.
Yep.
There is a selection now. Thanks Facebook for doing that manipulation on the Facebook page, but I won't go there. And you can actually pull down the videos. And
did you just compliment Facebook, Christian?
What's that?
Did you just compliment Facebook? No.
It was like that's for another panel.
Yeah.
But we do have a listing of the videos, and
awesome.
what we have here: Sylvester, Paul, Sophie, Terry. They've all been on it. We're going to get the other 3 eventually. But
yeah.
We had Annette Badland. We've had a plethora of monsters: Richard Ashton, Ross Mullen, John Davey, Melanie. My mind is blanking out right now. Yi Cho, who is also part of the. Yeah, it's.
I'm sorry. I'm still in shock that Sylvester McCoy is basically making forgeries of paintings. And that Terry's like, oh, I'm doing that too, except I'm doing that with money.
The first time I heard him say forge, I was like, I watch a lot of Forge and Fire. I was like, oh, he's forging paper? And I'm like, oh,
Did you see
forging.
Him? Yeah. He's over by Big Blue, just pulling out a villain. Yeah.
Terry's at that grandfather age. He was like, with my dad, it's just like, there's no filter. He'll say, I love that.
Oh, you mean them all telling her to stand up? Like, dirty old men.
Let me ask you this: when
Hopefully I
do
wasn't
the
thinking.
I know podcasts these days? It's do you have a regular time that it comes out, or is it sort of depending on when you've got content? When is it? Great.
Tuesday nights, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What we do now is that we live stream since we're all in our homes, and we kind of do a recording. Then we have our commercials and everything then and there, and then we will grab that, and then that following Saturday, usually, we will be launching that episode. If it's not that episode, it's maybe we have one in the can, because with the good silver lining with COVID is that we have gotten a lot more interviews because a lot of people are just kind of hanging out.
Sure. Yeah.
Good to chat.
Well, we
So
had
usually Tuesdays.
Yeah.
We had some great stuff this past where we did a whole month of Halloween, including out of nowhere, Paul McGann just said, "Hey, I'll do an episode." We have 5 episodes now, and that includes Paul McGann in October. But the things that we have fun with, like the first episode that we did was we had a bunch of paranormal and UFO experts. The first question was, "Doctor, do you believe in ghosts?" Because there's been a couple episodes where Paul McGann, during the TV movie, he says, "And I don't believe in ghosts." Flash forward, Peter Capaldi goes, "Oh, they're ghosts." So these experts now have to convince the Doctor whether they believe in a ghost or not from their experiences. I think the next episode was the Monster Mashup, and the next one
played a game with people who've dressed up as monsters on BBC on the show in Doctor Who, and they had to guess different monsters. And sometimes it was funny where they couldn't even guess themselves.
And they played for charity too. There was
That's
so
awesome.
Played for charity. What was the other one? Not this recent one, but the one after that.
We had
I
the
don't
one
remember.
also, though, it was with HarleyCon where we did about who's your monster. So we had compared a monster.
Oh, that was fun.
That was
fun.
Sweet theme.
And then we had the most recent, which there's an amazing steampunk troupe called Phantasmagoria, and they did a special performance for us live, which they reinterpreted the episode, the haunting of Villa Diodati, and made a special
13.
episode for 13. Yeah, and incorporated with the 13th Doctor's presence. It's an experience. You got to see it.
That's so cool.
We just had a great time.
Oh my gosh.
As we're going into the birthday month of the Doctor, we're going to have more episodes. We're going to have some fun.
Yeah, that's so cool.
You never know who's going to show up.
Well, yeah, definitely check you guys out there. We'd love to have you all back on our platform as well to do one of those. So we're super excited to have you back. Thank you so much for being here. Some shout outs from the fans. Demuse Mark said, big thanks to everyone in this live chat. Was great fun. Stay well. Cleo says, thank you. This was fun. And then the robot emoji in Twitch looks awfully like a Cyberman. If you look, yeah. James Herman says this was fun. A lot of people giving similar actions. Jazz says, Melanie, your reactions are very fun to watch.
I'm honest when I look like a fool.
Yeah. This was great. It was so nice to meet you all and have you here. Hey, this is the closest we can get, right, to conventions right now. We can't wait to get back to physical conventions, but in the meantime, this is what we have, and it's even though we're distant, we're still really connecting, which is super cool, and reaching people from all across the country and around the world tonight. We had people from Belgium and France watching, and Canada and the UK. So we appreciate you all for coming out. This has been the Doctor Who rewatch panel with the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. Again, we've dropped all those links in there, so check them out. Don't forget, you can get one-on-one live video chats with all of those amazing actors you just saw. This Sunday, they're on sale until Halloween night. Happy Halloween, everybody! I'm a Halloween nerd, so I know I'm going to be excited about that. But we will see you again at one of our next experiences. Hey, tune in a few hours. I'm going to be streaming a rewatch of the Supernatural panel right after the Supernatural episode. Plus, we had an exclusive interview with Emily Swallow just this past weekend, where she talks about Supernatural. She talks about The Mandalorian, which drops tomorrow night. She's doing virtual experiences on Sunday, so come back 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific in a few hours here, and we will see you next time. On behalf of Wizard World, I've been Mike G. This has been Melanie, Mackenzie, and Christian from the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Stay safe out there, gang.